Can I be a little self-indulgent here? My dream of interviewing my hero finally came true.
Hi. I can't believe you have that shirt.
I have a shirt with your signature.
Our guest, Rosie O'Donnell.
Who's this?
This is our service dog for my daughter, and her name is Kuma.
I've looked up to her since I was a teenager.
There's not much you can say that I don't know about you.
Really? You're like one of the people from Comic-Con.
Rosie started as a stand-up comic.
I started at a club when I was like 16, and the guy who was opening for me, or the MC, was from New York, Lou DiMaggio.
Yes.
And he goes, "Our next guest, Rosie O'Donnell."
And went on to be a major star on TV and the big screen.
And I remember thinking it was going to be SNL, which was every comic's dream, you know. And they called me the next day and said, "It's Give Me a Break with Nell Carter." And I said, "I'll take it."
But most importantly, she is also a trailblazer and an icon for the queer community.
Hi.
Hi!
Hi, it's Rosie!
So let's see if I can make it through this episode without falling apart.
You know, you're my Barbara.
Aw.
And you opened up the dream.
I'm Matthew Rodriguez, reminding you it's okay to ask questions. We're celebrating pioneers in the queer community in hopes of opening minds and hearts through thoughtful conversations. So I'm gonna ask some questions.
I wonder what it's like to date Rosie O'Donnell.
To better understand each other, let's talk and listen. Maybe then we'll realize we're a lot more alike than different.
Tommy, can you hear me?
Tommy, can you hear me?
Exactly. That scare you, Tommy?
I remember clear as day when I learned that you were gay. My brother came home, big construction worker dude.
Yeah.
He's 13 years older than me, so bigger than life, right?
Right.
And he comes home and goes, "Hey, you hear your girl Rosie's gay?" And I was like, didn't even know what it
Right,
meant
exactly.
at that point.
Gay.
Like,
People didn't say it that much
No,
then.
and there were no gay role models. Ellen wasn't out.
Right.
And I remember being like, "What is that?" And I was like, "That's okay." And the thing I remember most is my brother being fine with it. He was just delivering the news.
Yeah.
And it was this subtle thing. He doesn't know that he did it in this way, but it was a subtle thing from him to me, letting me know it was okay.
It was okay for you.
For me.
How beautiful.
Yeah. So that's where I was.
Yeah.
Where were you when you realized you were gay?
Oh, God, it was probably right around 10, which is interesting because it's when my daughter told me that she was non-binary.
Clay.
Her original name was Dakota, and then about a little bit over a year ago, she said, "I'd like to change my name." And I said, "No kidding, why?" And she said, "Well, I feel as though Dakota is too much of a feminine name and it has a gender identity." First of all, I'm like, how did you talk like this? Like, you know, I'm a lesbian icon. She teaches me things every day that I had no idea about. And she said, I want a name that is gender neutral. I said, "Well, what kind of a name?" She said, "I was thinking about it and I'm thinking of Clay." And I thought of Clay Aiken right away was my first thought, you know? I'm like, Clay, where did you hear that name? I made it up. And I think that that would be a good name for me. And it's also something you can make art out of, she told me. I said, okay. And she said, "I'd like you to still call me Dakota, but I'd like everyone else to call me Clay."
And why did they want that? You to
I
call
think
them?
just because of habit and change.
Yeah.
They don't like change as much as they like routine, you know, and so it took a while. But once I went to their school, and I saw everyone calling them Clay, everyone, teachers, you know, I was walking with, letting her into the fourth grade, and I hear, "Hi, Clay, hey, Clay," and I'm like, "What? Oh, yes, that's you," you know. But it's been a miraculously glorious, interesting journey with this child.
I would imagine it made you look back at your time coming out.
Well,
how things might have been different for you. What does that look like?
I remember in 5th grade, a new girl came to class, Lori Schackner, and she had an older sister, Lisa, who was like 14 or 15.
Was she cute?
She looked like Barbara Streisand in the main event, or What's Up, Doc, with the long straight hair. And I was absolutely enamored. And I didn't really know because I was so young, and again, nobody talked about gay. I just knew that if I had the chance, she kissed me on both cheeks. And I thought to myself, if I had the choice to kiss anybody, I would want to kiss Lisa Shackner. So I kind of knew, you know.
Had your mom passed at that point?
That's right when she died. Although I have a sister who's like 10 months younger than me, who is not gay, who, you know.
But you do have a brother that's gay.
I have a gay brother, yes,
Okay.
who's 1 year older than me.
And when did he come out?
And he came out, believe it or not, this is sort of an interesting story. I was doing stand-up in Washington, D.C., and he was at Catholic University with his roommate from college since he was a freshman. And this is when they were like 19 maybe. And I was staying there doing stand-up at some club. And I went back to the club, and they had, early or something, and they had the lock on the door. And I went to open the door, and it opened. And it was a one-bedroom apartment, but they had 2 twin beds. And then I went into the room just to say, don't be scared, I came back early. And they were in one bed. Now, nothing was happening.
Okay, I'm like, what you say? That could be
They had pushed the
scarring.
beds together.
Oh, okay.
And they were just sleeping, you know, it was late at night. And the next day, his roommate woke up and left before I could get up. And my brother was there, and he was like looking down. And I said to him, which I had never been with anyone, I was only 17. I was still in high school, hadn't kissed a girl yet. And I said to him, I'm gay. I'm totally gay.
You did.
Because I didn't want him to feel alone, you know? And he's like, we're not gay, we just moved the beds like that because of the air conditioner.
Okay.
I've known you your whole life, Danny. I don't know if that's true. But, you know, my brother wasn't very good at sports, although he did excel in tennis. And I was, of course, the tomboy who played every sport.
Right.
So it was an interesting thing to grow up in a family where there are no gender roles because the mom is gone.
True.
And there are 2 out of 5 gay children.
When you did come out to yourself, was it in that moment with your brother, or had you already acknowledged it?
When I was 16 and I got my license, I drove around in our Plymouth Volare with an AM radio, and I rolled up the windows, and as I got my first drive alone, I said, I am gay. I am gay. I am a totally gay person. I am a lesbian. I am a gay lesbian person. I just needed to hear myself say it, and I needed to sort of make it real for me. And that was the first time I came out to myself at 16, but I was still in high school.
Very early, because I wasn't, even though I had seen you and there was a lot of gay in my life, I went to Marymount Manhattan College in New York. They called it Ferrymount Manhattan, you know, like gay by May, they say.
That's right.
It was later, but so that's why I wonder, how did you know that that was true? Were there people in your life? Was there anyone gay? Had you met?
No, but you know what? I went to the St. Patrick's Day parade because that was the day my mom died. So my brother Eddie would take us all on the train to go into the city just so we wouldn't have to go to school that day, my oldest brother. And I was standing there, and a whole platoon of dykes on bikes came by, and people were handing out brochures to the after party or whatever. And I'm 16, and this woman comes over to me, and she hands me this flyer. Now, she didn't hand my sister. She didn't hand my friends who were with me. She went, hello, little lesbian, this is for you. And I looked at it, and I remember putting it in my pocket and thinking, how did she know?
Yeah.
She totally knew.
Did you feel embarrassed by that?
No,
Did you feel?
I felt like, there's a group. Look at all these. I didn't know that there were so many gay people. I remember, you know, you have to realize I'm 62, so the only person I heard of as being gay was Martina Navratilova, not Olivia Newton-John. Okay. Martina.
Exclusive.
That was a different movie.
Exclusive.
No, Martina and Billie Jean. And when I was in my teens, they were accused, and she was accused, and they had a press conference, and they both denied it.
Oh.
And that crushed me as a kid. I remember thinking, wow, even the ones who are it have to say they're not it, you know? And when I got the job on my TV show, I told them, because they were paying me a lot of money for 1 year to do a 1 year show to see if it would work. And I said, I want you to know that I'm gay, although I don't imagine that I would ever come out. Mind you, at the time, nobody was really out besides Elton, but there weren't women, there weren't lesbian
Certainly
women
not.
who were successful in the world and with children, having a happy life. Like, I didn't have an archetype for that. I just knew that I was going to be a mother. I knew that I was gay, and I knew that I had to make those two things work.
When you went into that boardroom, I imagine it was was it a boardroom? That's what I picture.
Yeah, it was
I picture
a
you on
boardroom.
one side,
It was-
white men,
Well,
white
it
cis
was
straight
white men, and they were all cis.
Yes.
You were right. They all had
Yes.
shiny shoes.
Yeah.
And I just said, I want you to know it. And they're like, it's okay, it's all right. If you don't want to say it, we're not going to make you say it. I'm like, okay. It's
Yeah.
not like I don't want to say it. Wasn't even a vocabulary. And I remember I was on my show and they said, there's a new sitcom coming out where it's going to be like Lucy and Desi, only Desi is gay. I'm like, what? A married no, they're going to live together,
Okay.
but they're not going to be married because one is gay, but they're best friends. I thought, well, that's going to be over in 5 minutes.
Right.
Will and Grace, that'll never go. And then when they told me that Ellen was going to have her character come out, I was like, well, that's career suicide. I don't know what she's doing.
So you knew it. So
I thought for her it was
Yeah.
career suicide. And it turned out for a while to sort of be that until society caught up with where we are today, largely in part due to her courage. You know, you can't deny that she was ahead of the curve in many ways, you know. And, you know, it was something that was so new that people didn't even know how to bring it up. A lot of people ask me, like, well, didn't people ask you in interviews? No. I sat in interviews like this my entire career up until when I came out. Not one person asked me.
except that one guy.
Patrick Pachenko.
Patrick Pachenko.
How do you know this?
Who asked you? He said, "Is it open to everyone?" He was asking about
Yes.
dating, and is it
Are
open
you
to
dating?
everybody?
And
Yeah.
I said, yeah, you know, I go pretty much, but I'm not
Yeah.
good at it. And he said, would you be open to both genders? And I said, all are free to apply. That's how I responded.
That's a great way to.
But
that was
then-
great. That was brave then, though, Rosie. Like,
Well, I never really hit it. I would go
Yeah.
to event like the Emmys. I went every year with Kelly.
Yeah.
Sat right next to her, held her hand.
it is funny when you look back and think nobody brought it up.
No, of course. Well, that one
one
guy
guy,
did,
yeah.
and it was for Cosmo. And I went back and I called Lois Smith, the legendary Lois Smith, publicist of Marilyn Monroe. Well, she called Helen Gurley Brown and said, I want you to take it out. And they took it out. And it was never, and whenever I saw Patrick Pachenko, I always was like, sorry about that.
you could have had
I
that
know, yeah,
exclusive.
the
Is he
scoop.
still around?
He's around.
Oh, we should have brought him out.
And he's here.
So going back to that Ellen moment and when she was coming out, did that put more fear in you to be a little more secretive, or you just kept on living things?
I kind of kept living the way
Yeah.
I had been living, but I was asked about her in constant rotation. She came out, and then everyone had a way to ask me if I was gay because of Ellen. So I think in the beginning I had a little bit of resentment about, you know, her timing.
Did you feel like you're blowing my cover? Was it one
Not
of those?
really.
No.
I didn't feel like it was a cover because everyone in show business knew I was gay.
Yeah.
Like every party or event, I would bring my partner. It wasn't like I was hiding it, you know. And some people said you were hiding it because you said you loved Tom Cruise. I said, well, if you listened, I said I want him to mow the lawn and bring me a lemonade and a T-shirt and jeans. Not that I wanted him naked, bumping nasties in the bed, you know. And there's a difference. I mean, gay women, gay men can aesthetically be in love or platonically without it being sexual. Yeah. And my love for him was real, and it maintains to this day.
Tom, I don't know if you've been watching the show. I got a little crush on you.
The man has never forgotten in 30 years to send me flowers on my birthday and a cake for Christmas.
When's the last time you've seen him?
God, over a decade ago.
Wow.
But he never forgets. And
pretty incredible.
He'll send a beautiful little note, and I just think he's a delight of a man. And, you know, I'm not a fan of Scientology in any capacity, but I don't, you know, choose or lose friends based on what their religious beliefs are.
Okay.
Well, hi, everybody. It's Wednesday all day, as my Nana would say. Say hi, Clay.
Hey,
How's it going?
good.
Has Clay made you look back at that time in a different way?
Well, they said to me,
Yeah.
she prefers they, them. I got a tattoo of it so that I would remember. And every time I say she goes, your tattoo isn't working. I'm like, all right, smarty pants.
Yeah.
But they said to me, after we were having the non-binary discussion, they said, Mommy, do you think you're non-binary? And I said, I really don't. I said, when I was a kid, there was a word that everyone used called tomboy, but it wasn't an insult. You could be a tomboy and nobody thought it was weird or bad. You could play sports. Like, I was president of my senior class. I was homecoming queen, prom queen, and I was very much a tomboy. I was on every single team that we had. And she said, but do you feel that you're a girl or do you feel that you're a boy? I said, I definitely feel that I'm a girl. I said, I'm a gay person. A gay person is someone who likes someone of the same sex, but doesn't have any confusion about who they are. And
Their gender, right?
their
So
gender.
that's-
Well,
yeah.
they said to me, Mommy, there are some kids in my class who don't even know their gender. So like an idiot, I say, tell them next time they're in the bathtub to look down. If it's a hot dog, they're a boy, and if it's not, they're a girl.
Which,
Then she says,
yeah.
they say, Mommy, that's their sex. That's binary. I'm talking about their gender, and gender is infinite. Gender is infinite. Where does a 10-year-old get those words?
Do you have any idea?
I have
Is
no
there someone in
idea.
their life that?
No. And I said to her, where did you find that? Where did you say? She said, some things I just know. There's an amazing.
Just like people know they're gay.
Correct.
It's the same thing. It's
the
no different than what we
same
say.
thing. Correct.
Yeah.
And I don't know where the journey's going to take them. I am supportive of any way that they want to be in this world and feel connected and happy.
This whole show is about different letters of the queer alphabet and discussing some of the questions that we can be nervous asking in public
yes,
spaces, right?
totally.
But I love where you're at now because you are a parent and we haven't had that perspective yet, talking about a non-binary child. And you as being a gay icon, quite
Yes.
honestly, so many people look to you for that. But to see that you are having, for lack of a better word, you had some confusion in the beginning about it
Yes.
as well. You struggle with the pronouns, just like everyone else is. And the whole point is like, that's okay as long as you're doing everything with good intent.
And as long as you correct yourself, you know, and sometimes Clay will say to me, Mommy, I told you can start with Clay. And I said, I'm trying, babe. I'm so trying. The hardest thing to do was not call her baby girl.
Yeah.
Because that was my common way of, morning, baby girl, right? I would always say that. And she said to me about a year and a half ago, I don't like that.
Okay.
I'm not a girl and I'm not a boy. I said, okay, I understand. What she wants and every kid wants is to be heard and seen. And when your child tells you who they are, believe them. Believe them. And everywhere in the world, they face feeling like an outsider because they have a different operating system in their brain. And I just really wanted a safe place where every question is allowed and every answer gets discussed.
Being a mom, do you ever think about how your mom might have reacted to you coming out?
Because, you know, I was so young.
Yeah.
I was so young. I remember when I told my father and his wife, he was married to a woman named Mary for a while, till she passed, and he passed, obviously. But when I told my father, he was like, oh, okay, darling, as long as you're sure. Walked out of the room, and my stepmother started crying. And I said, why are you crying? And she said, because I thought you were going to have grandkids with you. And I go, you're still going to.
Yeah.
I'm not giving up my desire to be a mom. I'm not giving up anything. I'm just telling you, this is the way my soul and my heart work. I'm the kind of mommy that wants another mommy. I'm not the kind of mommy that wants a daddy. You know, and I've told that to my kids since they were little. My big ones who are, you know, in their late 20s, some of them, said to me, Parker, when he was a baby, he said, you know, some people think that it's bad that there's two mommies in my family. I said, oh, really? Yeah, I know. I've heard about those people. What do you think? He goes, I think I might feel the same as them. I said, oh, okay, well, that's all right. I said, but I'm the kind of mommy that wanted a mommy, not a daddy. So if you had a daddy, you wouldn't have me. And he's like 6 years old on the beach, and he looks around and he goes, all right, I'll just keep you. But he had to think about it.
Yeah, he did.
Matt, he looked down, he looked around, he was weighing his consequence, whatever. It was so funny.
Gee, thanks.
Yeah, I guess I'll keep you.
This is a question I never thought I'd ask you, but I wonder what it's like to date Rosie O'Donnell.
I don't date that much.
Yeah.
I do serial monogamy.
Yeah.
I have a relationship. It's one person. It's a long time usually. And I mean, I was with my first girlfriend for 7 years when I was like 21. And then, was with another one for 4 years. And then Kelly and I were 7 years. And, so I think that I'm not a good dater because, as my therapist says, I have no idea that it's a date.
You're going right to it.
No.
Oh, no,
The
I didn't mean
opposite.
that. No,
The opposite.
I didn't mean sexually. I meant like you're like connected right away.
No, I think
you're
to
not.
myself, they're just here as friends.
I see.
Like, I don't look at women and go, oh, she's hot, I'd like to do her. Like, it's so much, I'm so much there's a word for this, when you fall in love emotionally first, and I forget the name now.
We just talked about
Oh,
it.
what's it called? Yes,
Demisexual. Yes, demisexual.
That's what I am, I think.
Word of the day.
Because, right away, emotionally, it's all about emotionally for me. And having that companion tell them everything kind of closeness is what keeps my heart going, And even though, as a lesbian, a 62-year-old postmenopausal lesbian, I can't really remember back to a time where it was all about sex, but I did call one of my exes recently.
What made you
when
do
I was
that?
20. Well, we're friends, lesbians.
Okay.
You stay
I know.
friends. Come on.
My first girlfriend was a lesbian, by the way.
Way to go.
Yeah. and
Way to go.
We're still very close.
I'll bet you are. You saved her and she saved
We
you.
did. We did. We got
Yes.
through prom together.
Exactly.
That was it.
I understand.
That was it. So you called her and what
I
happened?
called her and I said, listen, I'm 62 and I just don't remember really. Did we have sex a lot? She's like, yes. I'm like, we did? She's like, don't you remember? I'm like, I don't remember. And because I think when all the hormones leave your body and estrogen is kind of gone, your brain goes, sex file, deleted. Like, it's almost like you don't recall it.
Yeah.
Because when I am intimate with my partner, I always go, wow, that was fun. But you could offer me root canal or forcible, I would be like, let me think, what do I want to do tonight? Root canal or sex?
When you came out on the Diane Sawyer interview, a lot of that was for a specific reason, and you were putting your voice behind the adoption issues that were happening in Florida, specifically targeted towards gay couples.
Yes.
I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that and how that influenced your decision
Well,
to come out.
I went to visit a child who had been accosted and was in a group home. And while I was there, I see these two beautiful cocoa-skinned children holding hands. And I said to the guy who owned the facility, I said, where are they going? And he said, they're going to a mental hospital because they failed out of 30 foster homes. Now, I had just gotten my foster parent license. I said, they're going right now? They said, yes, because we have no other family to take them, and they're going to go. I said, you're telling me a 3- and a 5-year-old are going to a mental hospital? He said, yes. I said, put them in my car. And without car seats, I drove home, knocked on the door. Kelly opened it. I said, don't be mad. She's like, what did you do? I said, don't be mad. And then I unlocked the door, and 2 gorgeous children came out, and that was the beginning of the end. Right then. I'm advising married couples, don't show up with 2 foster children unannounced. Because, it wasn't fair. I didn't have a choice. I really felt like my empathic need to help, which I've, hopefully got a little bit of a handle of. It's at 62, hopefully. That I would be powerless to say, go take them away. And here I am, a millionaire in a home with everything I could need, and I could easily put these kids on the QE2 of my life and save their existence, And so that's how it began. And we tried to adopt that girl, Rosie, and we couldn't because we were gay. Because in Florida, there was a law that said gay people could not adopt even the foster children they raised. And there was an ACLU lawsuit, Lofton Cruteau, Roger and Steve. They were pediatric AIDS nurses at the beginning of the AIDS crisis, and as people were dying, they would give them their children. So they became foster parents, and they took in 5 or 6 kids. One of their babies seroconverted from positive at birth to negative due to their care, and that sometimes does happen. And because they became negative, they wouldn't let them adopt him. He was 17. They had raised him since he was a baby. And they said, you cannot adopt him. So when I heard about that case, I felt like God was saying, you're up. Now's the time. You know what yesterday was?
Yeah, I'm now International Non-Binary People Day.
Yeah, what'd you feel about that?
It felt good.
Excellent.
On TikTok, you've been able to connect to so many more people.
I know, it's crazy.
Kids who don't know your history, right? I imagine. They're like, oh, wait, what? You had a talk show?
Well, you know, I was nominated for a Queerty Award.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, Queerty.
I
yeah.
never heard of Queerty before, but my children called
I'm sure they
me.
love that. When you're like,
Well, who heard of it? Did you ever hear of it? You did?
they're straight. Well, she's gay.
Hey! Well, I had never heard of it. So
Yeah.
my kids call me and go, Mommy, you're not going to
Yeah.
believe this. You're nominated for the best gay TikToker. It's you and a bunch of 20-year-olds. So I thought that was so funny that I kept saying on TikTok, I want to win. Please vote for me. I want to win. And they called and said, will you come? And I said, did I win?
Yeah.
They said, we can't tell you that. I said, but if you
Right.
told me it, I would probably come.
Yes.
They said, well, you didn't win, but we'd like to give you the Icon Award, which is kind of second place. You know. But I went anyway.
Still competitive, Rosie.
It was very fun. And I saw the people who won, and I was like, damn you.
I thank you for this honor very much. Have a great night. And all you kids who beat me,
It's a funny thing, the TikTok. My daughter said to me during the pandemic, Mommy, I think you would like this.
Vivi.
I think you would like this. And I go, I don't dance. It's all about dancing and lip syncing. I'm not doing that. And she showed me a TikTok of a funny guy on there who was dressed in a hoodie and sweats and, you know, chubby and had a ring ding and a Coke, you know, and he was like, does anyone else wear their Rosie O'Donnell outfit? And so then I went up and I went, dude.
Yeah.
And I had the ring ding and the Coke, you know,
Yeah.
and that's what started it. And I really credit Vivi with all of the success that I've had on TikTok.
Yeah. You're still acting.
I am.
Which I enjoy. It's one of my favorite parts
Thank
of you.
you so much.
Because I think we see a different, we really see a different side of
Well,
you.
it is what I originally wanted to do.
Yeah.
I didn't originally want to do stand-up.
No.
I wanted to do Broadway and film acting. And or a sitcom. I would have been thrilled to get a sitcom, but which I did first. My first show was Give Me a Break with a very unhappy Nell Carter, which was sad. But I think that acting has always been the goal for me because I'm so moved by motion pictures. I'm so, like, I can almost chart my life by what film was around that time, you know, and how much it moved me. And I knew that it was forever, long lasting forever. And, you know, I remember thinking, like, if God forbid, this is when I was a kid, 16, if God forbid Barbra Streisand died, her son would still be able to see her in movies. Oh, wow. So you know, we didn't have a VHS back then. We didn't have a Super 8 camera. We weren't that kind of family, but I wished I had moving images of my mother to see. So part of my thought about becoming a film actress was also, should anything happen to me, that there would be a record, you know, for my kids.
What's next?
I have a movie coming out that I'm starting to shoot in the fall.
What is it?
It's called Heavenly Waters.
Okay.
It's about an all-British rock band with a New York drummer. And they break up in the 70s, and then they have to get back together for one concert now. And they haven't spoken to each other for 40 years because I had an affair with the lead singer's wife.
Stop.
And that's the premise.
Are you
of
the drummer?
I'm the drummer.
Oh, well, naturally.
Yes, it's really well-known British actors, and I'm the only American in the cast, and we're going to shoot in England and in Greece.
Oh, good for you.
Starting in the fall. So
Good for you.
I'm starting drumming just next week.
Well, you have the natural ability. You
I know how to
you
play.
were a drummer, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I know how to play, and I played on tour with Cyndi Lauper. And
Yes, that's where I got this song.
Yes,
Cyndi Lauper.
excellent.
And you invited me on your bus after.
Did you come on?
I did.
Oh!
Which was like absolutely unreal.
Well, you know-
that you were that kind and that
Oh,
present.
really?
Well, I don't think it wasn't a surprise, but what are the freaking odds that you would be like, come to my bus after?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of doesn't happen.
I guess that doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen, Rosie.
I guess
there's
so.
a lot of. I'll end with this. How did you feel after you had that first interview with Barbara?
To every boy and girl watching out there, dreams do come true. Please welcome, I knew I would do this, Barbara Streisand.
First of all, it opened up the floodgates for me because I can't even watch it. I watch the first few minutes and I'm choking to get out the intro, and I have to turn it off. Because by the time she comes and puts her hand on my face, I don't even know. It was like my mother walked out alive again.
Yeah.
It was very, very strange. Although my mother looked nothing like, Barbara Streisand was an Irish Catholic woman, but loved her the way I love her. And, I felt elated, and I felt in some way like I knew it would happen when I was a kid. And I think if you wish something long enough, it comes true.
Yeah. And that's what's happening to me today.
Oh,
And
Matt.
Thank you for that.
All right, now what are you doing right
Thank
after
you.
this? Do you have to go edit?
No, not right now.
Do you want to go to Carney's with your bestie and your gay friend?
You're kidding.
We can have a hot dog and fries at Carney's. It's right up the street. Come on.
She
Yeah.
said she's gonna ask us to lunch.
You're right.
Like,
That is right.
Wait, come here. This is my best friend.
Hi, best
so
friend.
these are her. This is Katie.
Hi, Katie. Come on up. Give me a little love.
I mean, it's not the most iconic thing ever. Get mustard on that.
At lunch with Rosie. I mean, this is happening.